Hello everyone, my name is Anastasia and I'm a CRM consultant for Integris. I'm really happy to welcome you all at today's webinar, a new episode in the webinar series dedicated to creating Sugar CRM as a single source of truth. So, I'm sure that most of you have faced sales managers or success managers' requests to be notified or to see payments of their customers in the systems they trust. As we know, payments originate in the payment system, whatever is used by company, like it may be PayPal, Chargebee, or Chargeify, but payments also can come from the ERP system. However, salespeople usually do not care where those payments are. They just want them to be inside CRM system for the sake of full customer profile. But the challenge is how to provide it, having tight budgets and overburdened IT teams. Well, actually, to overcome this challenge, there are two steps to complete. Step 1. To find a ready-to-use adapter to connect to the source of the payments. Sugar Integrate provides a vast variety of such adapters, so we can select any of them and use it. And step 2 is to display data in the single source of truth in needed context. As we are talking about enriching customer profile, payment should be displayed in the context of account. It's doable with configuration tools for Sugar, and it's what I'm going to show you today. So let's just start with demo. For this, I'm going to switch to the browser. Here it is. And let's start from step 1, Sugar Integrate, which you currently can see on the screen. Just look at this. If we search for adapters with payment tag, payments, there are already 6 ready to use. And needless to say, if we are going to search by finance, there are even more. As an example, today I'm going to use Stripe as a source of payments. So there is ready-to-use adapter and I'm going to use it. How? The very first step is to create instances. So I'm going to the instances section, and actually it's needed to create 2 instances. One is for Stripe, which is the source of our payments, and second one is for Sugar Cell, where actually these payments will be stored and displayed. To create instance, it's actually very simple. You just select ready to use adapter and configure it, provide credentials to connect to it. For example, for Stripe, it's only required API key. And also for Stripe, there is enabled event configurations because we are going to, let's say, listen events that happened in Stripe and then pull them into Sugar. And the second instance, let me also show you quickly, it's Sugar Cell, which also was selected from ready-to-use adapters, provide credentials like URL to Sugar, username and password, and as you can see, events aren't enabled because in this particular example, Sugar Cell will be just a receiver of our events, which actually payments for today's case. So instances are done. We have payment source and payments receiver. Now we need to, let's say, glue them together. For this, there should be some kind of workflow between them, and that's where procedures come. So here there is a procedure template created. Let me show you. It's really, really simple because all that this procedure is actually doing is just grab data from adapter instance, for example, Stripe, and pull received data directly to Sugar Cell, our source. So it contains its event trigger, means it fires when something is happened to an adapter instance, which suits us very well. And there is the last step to adapter API request, which actually pulls all this data into Sugar Cell. Well, basically, it's procedure template. That means that this template can be used for not for only one, but for several adapter instances. And that's also configurable. This is template currently, so I return to procedures and show you that there is one configured instances. Actually, it's also very simple to do, just to define adapter instance from one side and adapter instance from other side. So event source, which is Stripe, where we are going to hear or listen for events, and then the source, our single source of truth, which is Sugar Cell, where all these payments should be stored. And that's it. Actually activated, and starting from now, everything that happens in Stripe will go directly to Sugar. And actually, that's it about integrate. We leveraged it ready-to-use adapter, and we get all data from Stripe inside Sugar. You may ask, but where this data is actually stored? Actually, the answer is very simple. So I go to Sugar, and here there is a module named external data. It's custom module created through module builder, and it has nothing, just few description fields, just to store raw data received from that was grabbed by procedure from adapter instance. As you may see currently on the screen, there is JSON formatted data, and actually it won't be very useful for users to display this raw data. So our task for now is to make this data appear in account in easy and human readable form. And it also can be done codeless. So to transform this data, I'm using Logic Builder, a visual designer logic tool for Sugar. So I'm going to logicbuilder.integralcrm.com, sign in, and open my ready project, single source of truth. And now I'm going to show you configured already logic how to process this data received from that was pulled actually by a trigger. So load flowchart and payment charge event. Let me show you briefly. So let me zoom out for a second. Actually, it's step-by-step description how Sugar will react on some particular event. In our example, it's payment. So it's how it looks like. Let me return at the beginning and zoom a little bit. So it also has a trigger. So when it should fires, and it names on data change means when something is changed in module external data, because it's a module where we store data received from adapter instance. And then I evaluate whether this record is new. That means that whenever something is happened inside Stripe, whether it's payment or customer creation or payment intent, this event will be pulled using Sugar integrate into Sugar, and new record of external data will be created. So in this way, I'm checking that something was happened. There is some event. And also, as it may be events from any system, it may be also, for example, Slack, I check that this event comes from Stripe. And next, I'm start to checking or digging very deeply into data that was received from Stripe. Prior, I'm going to describe how exactly I'm going to do it. Let me return to Sugar and show you what comes from Stripe, or basically from adapter instance. You can see there is a lot of data and it's not very readable when it's in one line as a flow of text. So let me copy it and use one of dozen services for JSON beautifier. Let me use this one. So I remove what I have prior it, paste and beautify, and also use form. Much better, isn't it? So from the right side, you can see that is obviously JSON, so it is attribute values pairs. And now we need to dig into this data and check what we received. In event object description, there are several attributes that are very interesting for us. For example, we see that in object type, we see that it is charge. That means that that is event charge of money, and that is what we are looking for. And also event type is created. It's also very interesting for us, and that is how we can check that this event is actually is charge. And in the same way as I'm looking here in this text, event type is created, object type is charged. In the same way, I configure it in Logic Builder. Let me return. So by this operator, I'm just read all those amount of data received and start addressing by particular path, particular attribute, for example, event, object type, checking whether it's charged, and event type, whether it's created. So when they both are true, that means that that is events that we are looking for. That is not the customer creation or payment intent or I don't know balance checking. It's charge. It is what we are looking for, and continue to work continue to further steps. So what we are going to do next? Again, I'm returned to our received raw data. What we need to do? Probably we need to grab some significant data. If we are speaking about charges, probably we need to know amount of this charge and also who was charged. So for this, we are going to dig into body message row, and this actually in the row section contains data that was received directly from Stripe. And here in events description, we have several events. You can see there are 5 of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which actually contains the data that we are looking for. So if I expand this and start digging down for data object, I will finally get to the needed data like amount of payment, like description that this is subscription payment, like receipt URL, and so on and so forth. So obviously there are a lot of different data here, but we do not need to display it in account context, all of it, just the very significant one, like amount, customer, and currency, and so on. But not all of these 5 events are actually charge description. Some of them are, for example, payment intent. So again, I need to evaluate which of these events is actually charge to dig into more details to get, for example, amount. As there are several events and we need to perform the same steps for each of them, I'm using a cycle or loop. So here, by this path, body, message, row, events, I get to all these 5 events received from Stripe and start cycle to find out needed data. Again, I'm checking whether it's charged and it succeeded. And when yes, there are 7 data, seven values that I need to store, which is customer name, amount of payment, currency, and several URLs to easily navigate from Sugar directly to Stripe to see details about this payment. So as soon as all this data is stored, I'm just, again, in the same way, just go by path where this value is stored, grab it and input into variable. And when it's done, all variables are filled. I stop my cycle and go to the completed path. What I'm doing next is obviously find account by provided name. Also, I'm 100% sure that all accounts from Stripe are in Sugar. So I proceed directly to creating event to display under account context, and to display I use timeline viewer. So it's needed to create a new record in timeline viewer. Basically here I create additional extended description with several links. Also And actually, I proceed to create new record in module timeline and fill it with data like message, what user will see about this payment. For example, it will be description of payment and amount of payment. Also, I relate this record to accounts module and to particular account that was found from data received from Stripe, and save it. And to deploy this logic, it's needed only to generate sugar package, and standard zip package will be downloaded on your computer. Just return to sugar and install it as any other sugar package. And that's it. Step 1, step 2 completed. And actually, we have all payments from Stripe inside sugar. Let me quickly show you. So, okay, let's start from Stripe. Here is Stripe on the screen. As you may see, there is succeeded payment from 7th July. So it was shown on previous series of this webinar, how it works in live. So if you didn't see it and would like to see it, just type something in chat, for example, S1, and I will share a link with you. But anyway, here is successful payment for XYZ funding. Let's open this account in Sugar. So here it is. And on the right side, there is timeline. And we see for the 7th July, we have subscription payment, description of payment received from Stripe again, and amount, and also some extended, let's say, links to, for example, go directly to Stripe record and check details about this payment inside Stripe. So in this way, how we can receive data, store all this amount of really raw data inside Sugar and process it. So you can see here there are a lot of different already stored events, because any event, not only charge, it comes here, it may be also balance check or customer creation. And that's why it's very important to check what has come from adapter instance. And also it can be not only from Stripe, but also from Slack. And it works in very similar way. Process this data and grab significant information from it. And obviously, it is not even limited only to create significant event in account context. It also may be some, let's say, data population. For example, we can register a product to customer, sold product to customer, or also we can send notification, and so on. So actually, about demo, I think that's it. Let me return to my presentation. So actually, we enriched our customer profile with data received from payment system, from Stripe, and display this payment into account context using really convenient, ready-to-use Sugar adapters by getting data from Stripe and pull it into Sugar cell using Sugar integrate, and then with Logic Builder we process those data and display it with Timeline Viewer. So actually that's it. Let me check whether you have any questions, and if you have any, you can type them right now into question section. If you can't come up with this question right now, you are very welcome to write us directly. We will be happy to help you and answer any possible questions. So let's wait for a few minutes, a few seconds. Okay, so looks like there is no questions for today. Okay, so let's thank you for joining me today, and I hope this webinar will help your company to do business effectively in this challenging time. Have a great day, and I really hope to hear from you soon. Bye bye.